Now, a son of embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of sexual assault. A lawsuit filed in LA Superior Court on Thursday accuses Christian King Combs of sexually assaulting and possibly drugging a woman in December 2022. The woman says it happened while she was working on a yacht that Diddy had chartered. This comes just over a week after homes owned by Diddy were raided in LA and Miami as part of a federal human trafficking investigation. Neither the attorneys for Combs or Diddy have commented on the new legal complaint.
On a quiet evening at the end of March, Los Angeles was rocked, not by a concert or some extravagant Hollywood after-party, but by a scene straight out of a Netflix crime series. On March 25th, in the heart of the elite Holy Hills neighborhood, where multi-million-dollar mansions sit side by side and celebrity neighbors like Beyoncé and Elon Musk reside, the FBI suddenly stormed the private estate of hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. There was no warning, no prior notice. Just fully armored agents, armored vehicles, surveillance drones hovering above, and heavy weaponry conducting a raid like they were after a notorious drug lord. A leaked surveillance video later showed one agent angling the camera down toward the ground, as if trying to hide what happened next. But it wasn't fast enough to stop the footage from spreading. Online, videos rapidly went viral showing Diddy's two sons, Christian and Justin Combs, handcuffed and escorted out of the lavish home. Christian, also known as King, was seen facing a wall, hands raised. Behind him was Justin, hands empty and also held high as he was led away. Both were removed from the family's mansion like criminal suspects. The lush green lawn, once the backdrop for champagne brunches and extravagant parties, was now the place where Diddy's sons lay face down, cuffed and detained. Agents tore through the house, broke into safes, searched through drawers, and even removed Grammy Awards from display shelves. At the same time, across the country in Manhattan, Diddy was arrested in the lobby of the Edition Hotel. According to insiders, he was preparing to board a private jet with his twin daughters en route to the Bahamas for spring break when federal agents ambushed him. Witnesses say he was handcuffed on the spot without any resistance. Back in Los Angeles, Diddy's sons weren't spared from the operation. Christian and Justin were separated and detained, though no formal charges had been filed against them at that point. Outside the mansion, chaos unfolded. Armed agents carrying rifles, drones circling overhead, and a fleet of FBI vehicles lined the gated street. The boy's mother, Misa Hilton, reacted swiftly. She took to social media, expressing outrage over what she called a militarized raid and placed the blame squarely on Diddy for dragging their sons into this mess. She accused him of creating the chaos that ultimately ensnared their children and slammed the police for using such extreme tactics, which she said caused severe emotional trauma. "What happened to my sons should never have happened," she wrote. But this raid wasn't some random act of force. It came exactly 40 days before Diddy was scheduled to appear in federal court, where he faces a mountain of serious charges, including sex trafficking, coercion, and abuse. Authorities appear to be accelerating their investigation, and the coordinated raids on both his Los Angeles and Miami properties signaled that this is a full-scale federal case with serious implications. By that point, Christian and Justin's legal team had already hired some of the top names in the business, including Jeffrey Lichtman, the high-profile attorney known for representing John Gotti Jr. and El Chapo. When you bring someone like Lichtman on board, it's not because you expect things to blow over quietly, it's because you're gearing up for a legal war. At the center of this entire saga is a disturbing phrase that's been resurfacing in lawsuits, social media posts, and whispered conversations among Hollywood insiders: FreakOFFS. According to multiple sources and accusers, these weren't just wild parties. They were multi-day sex-fueled events, meticulously planned and executed with a mix of drugs, theatrical lighting, professional cameras, costume crews, and even hidden recording equipment. According to allegations and sworn testimonies from several filed lawsuits, these so-called FreakOFFS were highly orchestrated and tightly managed events. The parties were fully equipped with lighting rigs, filming gear, and a team of staff, including little people in costumes tailored to specific themes, all designed to enhance an already bizarre atmosphere. Some attendees claimed they were invited under the pretense of attending a private music event or an exclusive industry gathering. But once they arrived, they were offered drugs, pressured into excessive drinking, and eventually manipulated into situations that far exceeded the boundaries of consent. Many of these parties were filmed without the participants' knowledge or permission. Some victims later discovered they had been recorded while engaging in sexual acts, only realizing it after the fact. A number of them alleged that they were physically restrained or coerced into performing acts they had never agreed to. Among the most high-profile lawsuits was the one filed by Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend. She claimed these parties were part of a broader pattern of manipulation and abuse that spanned the length of their relationship. In her civil lawsuit, Cassie gave a detailed account of the FreakOFFS she said she had been forced to participate in, including claims that Diddy drugged her, physically assaulted her, and made her perform sexual acts with male sex workers while he watched and recorded. According to her, these weren't isolated incidents. They happened repeatedly over the years. Although her lawsuit was settled quickly out of court, it triggered a chain reaction that brought a flood of new cases into the public eye.
In a new lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs' second son, Christian Combs, is accused of sexually assaulting a crew member working on a super yacht. That suit was filed here in Los Angeles. Attorneys representing former yacht stewardess Grace O'Markey say she was sexually assaulted on board a yacht when she was 25 years old in December of 2022 by Diddy's son, rapper Christian Combs. They say his dad, Sean Combs, leased the yacht and had full control of its staff and the premises. O'Markey's lawyers say Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. They stated, quote, "Defendant Sean Combs fostered and encouraged an environment of debauchery. There was always a party atmosphere filled with suspected sex workers, suspected laced alcohol, violence, and sheer disrespect of women and the yacht's crew." The lawsuit also contains photos of bruises that O'Markey's lawyers say she suffered when Christian Combs violently grabbed her and attempted to force her to perform a sex act. They also included a transcript of an audio recording which they say captures O'Markey being forced to consume suspected laced shots of tequila.
Meanwhile, Justin Combs, Diddy's eldest son, hasn't exactly stayed out of the spotlight either. In June 2023, he was arrested for driving under the influence. According to the police report, his blood alcohol level was nearly double the legal limit. He was later sentenced to 3 years of probation and required to complete DUI education and prevention classes. While Justin hasn't been directly linked to the FreakOFF allegations, his name has come up frequently in conversations about the environment within Diddy's household and how the children were raised amid that backdrop. Reports have emerged suggesting that Justin repeatedly rented luxury mansions by misrepresenting the nature of his events, telling homeowners he was planning small, intimate gatherings, only to throw massive parties with hundreds of attendees. In one case, a neighbor recalled seeing guests diving into a foam-filled pool surrounded by empty liquor bottles, while private security struggled to control the rowdy crowd. As a result, several property owners have since blacklisted Justin from renting homes through popular platforms. Sources close to the investigation revealed that the latest allegations are being bolstered by new evidence recovered during the FBI raids on Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami. Investigators reportedly uncovered multiple hard drives filled with data, professional-grade recording equipment, and several unregistered firearms. As soon as this information began leaking to the public, Diddy's legal team pushed back hard, claiming the allegations were baseless and aimed solely at stirring up a media frenzy against their client. In addition, Diddy's legal team accused federal agencies of weaponizing the media, selectively leaking information to sway public opinion before the trial even begins. Legal analysts have pointed out that the introduction of new charges could significantly shift the trajectory of the entire case. As the scope of the investigation continues to grow, more witnesses are expected to be called to testify, including some who will appear anonymously and others who will be placed under heightened protective measures. One of the most anticipated witnesses is Dr. Dawn Hughes, a renowned forensic psychologist who gained public attention during the high-profile defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She has been brought onto this case to assess the psychological condition of several plaintiffs, including those who claim they were manipulated and psychologically coerced by Diddy in ways that left lasting trauma. Dr. Hughes's involvement has sparked controversy. The defense is reportedly preparing a motion to exclude her testimony, arguing that her presence could unfairly bias the jury. Their reasoning is that her history of participating in major, media-covered trials may lead jurors to rely on her reputation rather than objective evidence. They also argue that some of her conclusions tend to be more performative than rooted in empirical science. However, the prosecution has defended Dr. Hughes's role, emphasizing her extensive experience working with trauma victims and the critical insight she brings regarding the long-term psychological effects of abuse and coercion. They noted that her testimony wouldn't stand alone. It would be supported by clinical evaluations, expert analyses, and corroborating accounts from other witnesses with direct involvement.
I'm looking like, are those midgets? Because it's people over them, like it's people trying to hide what they're doing.
Adults who are little people, or are you talking about minors?
Am I gonna get in trouble? I don't want to say I witnessed any of that crazy stuff, but we all have common sense. Little people that's not supposed to be there.
You're talking about underage people.
It's a shame.
Is this woman, Tania, is she really saying that there were minors involved in these FreakOFFs?
That is exactly what she's saying, Billy.
Alongside these expert testimonies, authorities are still actively collecting statements from individuals who either attended parties at Diddy's properties or were employed by him in any capacity. These include former staff, entertainers, and social media influencers, many of whom were invited to events that allegedly spiraled into the disturbing FreakOFF gatherings described by various sources. Some witnesses have requested to remain anonymous, fearing retaliation or threats. At least 2 former employees are believed to have entered witness protection programs after agreeing to cooperate with federal investigators. Their testimonies are expected to be presented to a grand jury in the coming weeks, potentially leading to a new round of indictments. Among the items seized during the FBI raids were not just weapons or digital equipment, but also handwritten notes, detailed journals, and personal communication logs. Investigators believe these documents could be key to proving the existence of a criminal network involving multiple individuals, not just Diddy, but a group of people whose careers have flourished under his powerful shadow.